Most people wait until life gets better to feel grateful. But what if gratitude is the thing that makes life better? Today, I want to take you on a journey into the real power of gratitude, what it does to your energy, what it does to the people around you, and what it can do to your entire experience of being alive. By the end of this episode, I think you're going to look at two simple words: thank you, in a very different way. Hello and welcome back. Today's episode, we're going to focus on just one word: gratitude. When most people think of gratitude, they think of it as something pretty simple: just a polite thank you, a little moment of appreciation, nothing too deep. They toss the word around real loosely without any real understanding of what genuine gratitude actually does. And that's exactly what I want to explore with you today. We're going to talk about showing gratitude to others, showing gratitude for the situations in your life, and maybe the most important and most overlooked one of all: showing gratitude to yourself. Let's start with something that I think a lot of people run into, and it can really create some heartache if you're not careful. Imagine you do something genuinely kind for another person. Maybe it took you an hour. Maybe it came straight from the heart. A homemade gift, a real conversation when they really needed someone to listen. And what you get back is just a very simple kind of flat thank you, maybe nothing at all. Here's the first power tip I want you to think about as far as gratitude. Not everyone is capable of giving you the kind of thank you that you're hoping for. And that's not a reflection on how much they care. It might be how they were raised. Maybe in their household, saying thank you meant you gave away too much of yourself. Maybe they said thank you once as a child and got shot down, told they didn't mean it, or that they were being dramatic. So they learned to hold back. When you set an expectation for someone else to give you the kind of gratitude you want to receive, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Because here's what it really comes down to: the only person you can do anything about in this equation is you. I want to share a story with you that I think perfectly captures what genuine gratitude feels like. A couple of Christmases ago, I had gotten to a point in my life where receiving gifts wasn't really something I thought too much about. I appreciate them, of course, but they weren't something I expected or needed. My wife wasn't working at the time, and that was fine. We were doing okay. A couple months before Christmas, she mentioned that she wanted to get back into painting. It was something that she had always loved. And I thought, sure, why not? I went, ordered some painting supplies for her, and really didn't think too much more about it. A couple months later, Christmas morning comes. We open up our gifts, and I start unwrapping mine. The first gift was a small painting of flowers. Beautiful. I thought, wow, that's really lovely. The second gift, another painting, even more striking. And then the third. The third painting stopped me cold. It was a scene from a film that I had watched about the Buddha, a moment that lasted maybe 4 or 5 seconds on the screen, but it really stayed with me. It was the moment just before the Buddha's enlightenment. She had painted it for me. Yes, for me. That's when I realized she tricked me. She had no income. She had no way to buy me a gift. So she had clever gotten me to buy my own gift by asking for painting supplies. And in one of the other paintings, she'd used my dog's paw print as the center of each flower. It was beautiful. I looked at her, and I could feel my heart just ready to burst out of my chest. When I said thank you, the sound of my voice was completely different than any thank you I'd ever given. It came from deep inside my chest. It was slow, it was full, and genuine. There were tears in my eyes, and she was smiling, not just with her mouth, but with her eyes, with her entire being. That's what real gratitude looks like and sounds like, and that's what it feels like. I want you to know it's possible to feel that way, not just in big moments, but in the quiet, ordinary ones too. Now, let's talk about showing gratitude for the situations around you, because gratitude isn't something you just feel for people. It's something you can direct towards a moment, a place, even an experience. I was at a conference not too long ago, and I had a few minutes between my class and the next one. I wandered into another presenter session, and I just stood off to the side listening. She was teaching from the heart. You could see it in the way she moved, in the way that the people were leaning in. And for a moment, I just stood there, just quietly beaming, not saying a word, just being genuinely grateful for what is happening in that room. And here's what I want you to understand about that moment: the energy I was generating, that genuine feeling of appreciation was being added to that space. Whether anyone felt it consciously or not, gratitude creates an energy field. It contributes, it supports, it lifts. Now, think about the last time you walked out into nature, maybe a forest, a trail, a quiet field somewhere. Notice how your whole system just settles. Your heart rate stops, your breathing slows, you feel both calmer and more alive at the same time. That's the energy of a living system that is in harmony. And when you walk into that and you say thank you out loud in your heart, even just picking up a few sticks off the trail so a little creature has an easier time, you're adding your intention to that living system. You're participating in it. You're not just a visitor, you're in a relationship with it. And here's something really interesting to notice. In the moments when you're most genuinely grateful, how do you feel? Check in right now. Think about something you're truly thankful for and just sit with it for a second. Your life force actually rises. You feel more connected, especially to the people around you, the earth beneath you, and whatever you call source. Gratitude is a connector. It closes the gap between you and everything else. Now, I want to talk about something that's going to shift the way that you think about the words you use, not just to others, but to yourself. There's a book and a body of work by a researcher named Dr. Masaru Emoto. The Hidden Messages in Water. What Dr. Emoto did was he took beakers of water and he taped the word to the outside of the beaker. Then he froze the water very rapidly and photographed the crystals that were formed. And what his research suggested is fascinating. When positive words were used, like love, peace, harmony, the water crystals that formed were geometrically beautiful. They're symmetrical, intricate, almost like snowflakes that you'd see on a greeting card. But one of the most stunning responses in his entire body of research: two simple words: thank you. The crystals from the words thank you were among the most exquisite he captured. When negative words were used, hateful words, words of anger or contempt, the crystals were chaotic, fragmented, and almost unrecognizable as crystals at all. Now, Dr. Emoto himself, he acknowledges that he was photographing the best and most striking examples from his experiments, not just random scientific sample. Here's what I find so compelling. His experiments demonstrate that intention directed at water created a measurable, visible response. He typed a word on a piece of paper, taped it to the beaker, and something happened to that water inside. Now, think about this. The human body is somewhere around 70% water. So the question isn't what does gratitude do to water in a beaker? The question is, what are your words that you speak to yourself every day doing to the water inside you? What are the words you use with your children, your partner, your closest friends? What are your words doing to them? What about the words you direct towards your pets, your plants, the living things you share your world with? If the words thank you can turn water into something that looks like a cathedral of light, then imagine what a genuine, heartfelt feeling of gratitude does to the water that makes up your heart, your blood, your cells. That's worth sitting with. And here's what I find so beautiful about Dr. Emoto's work from a shamanic perspective. It really isn't new information. Indigenous traditions around the world have understood for thousands of years that water's alive. Water is sacred. Water is a carrier of energy, of intention, of prayer. When an elder blesses water before a ceremony, or a shaman offers gratitude to a river before crossing it, they are doing exactly what Emoto's experiments suggest. They are speaking to the water, they are honoring it, and the water, in whatever way the water does these things, responds. Modern science is just beginning to catch up what our ancestors knew in their bones. Gratitude isn't soft, it isn't weak. It's one of the most ancient and powerful forms of intentional energy that a human being can generate. And you carry that ability with you in every single moment of every single day. Okay, let's talk about one of the most underused forms of gratitude: gratitude for your own situation. I was in a meditation circle some time back, and one of the men in the group had said something that I ended up thinking about for several weeks afterwards. He had said whenever he started to feel really down about himself, really spiral into thinking badly about where he was in life, he would just think about someone in another part of the world in a truly desperate situation. And then holding that image would just give him a little bit of relief. He started to realize that he didn't have it as bad as a lot of people that are out there. And he started to be a little bit more grateful for his own situation. That sat with me because here's what I believe: in this present moment, you are exactly where you choose to be or where you choose to be affected by. And that can be a hard one to accept, I know. But I want you to hear underneath this, there is someone on this planet right now who would trade places with you in a heartbeat. Someone who would look at your problems and see them as a luxury. Right now, you're listening to this podcast. You're probably within 60 seconds of clean water. Think about that. There are hundreds of millions of people that are on this earth who are not. You woke up this morning. You're breathing. You have enough to eat. You're living in a level of abundance that much of the world cannot imagine. And most of the time, we're completely blind to it. Maybe you're listening to this inside your car. And you know what? You have a vehicle. Maybe you're out on a walk. You have legs to carry you. Maybe you're at home. You have a home. Look around you right now, wherever you are, and really see it. See the abundance of this ordinary moment. And here's the beautiful thing about recognizing that it doesn't just fill you up, it moves you to give. When you're genuinely grateful for what you have, something in you naturally wants to share it. That gratitude becomes energy and that flows outward. It finds the places that need it. All right, here's the big one. The one most of us never do: gratitude for yourself. When was the last time you said to yourself, really said it and meant it, thank you for getting through all of that? Thank you for still showing up. Thank you for continuing to breathe and move and try, even when things were hard. How many times have you allowed yourself to take some real pride in the fact that you're still here? You're still living. You're still growing. When was the last time you looked at yourself and thought, you know what? I've actually done pretty well. I'm not such a bad person after all. Those thoughts are acts of gratitude, and most of us almost never go there. Now, I want to take this one step further because I think this is where the real mastery of gratitude lives. And it's also one of the hardest places to go. Gratitude for the difficult things. In shamanic traditions, there's a deep understanding that everything in your life, every experience, every wound, every loss, every hardship is a teacher. Nothing arrives without a reason. Nothing passes through your life without leaving something behind. The question is whether you're willing to look for the gift inside the difficulty. Think about something hard that you've been through, something that knocked you sideways, something that at the time felt like it might be too much. Now, ask yourself, who did that experience make you? What did it teach you that you couldn't have had learned any other way? What strength did you pull out of that which you didn't even know was there? I'm not asking you to be grateful for something painful that happened. I'm asking you to be grateful for what came through because of all of it. That's a very different thing. And when you can get there, even a little bit, something shifts. The story around the experience changes. You stop being a victim of what happened and you start being someone who was shaped and strengthened by it. That is one of the most powerful moves a human can make. The wound becomes the gift, the storm becomes the teacher, and gratitude is the key that unlocks that transformation. I want to give you something pretty practical, something you can actually do. Two things, in fact. The first one, do it right now if you like. Pause the podcast and come back. Is look around you. Wherever you are in this moment, find three things that are around you that you're grateful for. If you need a little help, think about someone who doesn't have those things. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It could be the chair that you're sitting on, the air that you're breathing, the fact that you have a moment of quiet to listen to something like this. The second is for tomorrow morning. When you wake up and you put your feet on the floor, before you do anything else, before the phone, before the coffee, before the rush of the day, just breathe in and breathe out and say two words. Thank you. Pause. Say it again. Thank you. Pause one more time. Thank you. Slowly, appreciatively, feeling it. And you're thanking the universe for another day. You're thanking your body for carrying you through the night. You're thanking the life force that chose to keep moving through you. When you do that, you start your day with more energy, than you had the day before. You start calmer, more centered, more genuinely yourself, and that ripples out into everything that you touch. Then at some point during the day, I want you to catch somebody doing something right. You don't have to make a big production out of it. Just walk up to them and say, "Hey, I noticed what you did. I really appreciate it, and I'm grateful you're here." Watch what happens. Watch their eyes. Watch their whole demeanor shift. Gratitude reflected back is one of the most powerful gifts you can give another person. And here's what I can tell you from experience: it almost always comes back to you. Not necessarily from that person, but from the world. Because that energy starts something. It starts moving things in a positive direction in ways you may never have been able to realize before. And then, as the day winds down, before you're getting ready to close things out, I want you to try one more thing. Before you go to sleep, just take 2 or 3 minutes. Get quiet. Let the day pass before you like a film. Don't judge it. Don't analyze it. Just watch it. And as each moment comes up, the easy ones, the hard ones, the wins, the stumbles, just whisper a quiet thank you. Thank you for the conversation that went well. Thank you for the one that didn't, because it showed you something. Thank you for the moment that I almost lost my patience, but I caught myself. Thank you for the beauty that I almost walked past, but I didn't. Thank you for this day, all of it, exactly as it was. When you close the day in gratitude, you program your energy for the next one. You go to sleep in a different field than the one you would have fallen into otherwise. And when you wake up, feet on the floor, 3 quiet thank yous, and you do it all again. Morning gratitude, midday gratitude, evening gratitude. That's the full practice. And I promise you, if you do this for 1 week, your world will look different. Not because anything outside of you changed, but because you did. So here's your invitation for this week. Start in the morning with gratitude for yourself. Move through the day, showing gratitude to others. As the day winds down, take a moment, honor everything that happened. The easy things, the hard ones, gift in all of it. If you're really willing to look for it, it's right there. I can assure you this simple practice will affect you and your world in more ways than you can imagine. If you'd like to show a little gratitude my way, I'd love it if you left a review on Apple Podcasts or stopped by the Facebook page and reviewed it, shared a kind word. Because when you do, someone else might find their way to this podcast. And if something I've said here can help them, then we're all doing something good today. I am genuinely grateful you're here. I mean that. If even one thing from this episode shifts something in you, and it shifts you to help someone else, well, there's the proof. And that is something worth being grateful for. Thank you. I'll see you on the next journey.